Hello everyone, welcome to Law Kanya. Today, the topic for discussion is reservation, about how it started and now what is the position in 2020. Starting off with the British rule in India, Britishers were well aware about the lack of unity amongst Indians. They took no time in taking advantage of that, which is the reason we were under their rule for 400 years. Quite a long time, and we still don't know what either we are above their method of ruling yet. Let's see the concept of reservation and how it began in India. It started off with the Morley Minto reforms in 1909. There was introduction of communal electorates, meaning voters from a particular community can only vote for the representative of his or her community. Then Muslim League in front and increase in communalism in the nation provided the accurate timing for bringing such reformations by the British. This wasn't the first, and then again came up a separate electorates for the depressed class in Pune Pact, which was signed at Pune in 1932. It resulted from the communal award of August 4, 1932. This was made by the British government on failure of India as parties to agree, which allotted seats in the various legislations of India to different communities. Mahatma Gandhi objected the provision of separate electorates by the scheduled caste, formerly known as the untouchables, which in his view separated them from the whole Hindu community. Though in his cell at Yerwada jail near Bombay, Gandhiji announced a fast unto death, but does not held the stamping of the provision of the Pune Pact. And moreover, the Government of India Act 1935, where the reservations of seat for depressed classes were allotted then. I would like to quote what prominent B.R. Ambedkar said at Agra on March 18, 1956. He said, members who benefit from reservation system means paying back to society, which also needs to be seen as advocacy for uplifting the weakest. This speech was made by him 9 months before his death. His speech revolved around the ones from the oppressed classes or educated classes from Dalits who have reached to some position due to reservation in education and employment due to the efforts of leaders like B.R. Ambedkar, Jyotirao Phule, and others which have failed to pay back to the society now. But this wasn't the motive of the reservation. It was the empowerment from the long due shackles of the Varna system. It was the annihilation against the atrocities of upper caste from making them believe that they are no less than a human than people from other caste. This was a system for the alleviation of the weakest, but we Indians have failed that miserably and lost track on the purpose to bring in reservation. Today, it is more of a political agenda than the human rights thing. Let's see at the post-independence era. The Constituent Assembly gave many ponderous thoughts to the reservation policy, and finally, it was brought in. But initially, it was only for 10 years to socially uplift the unprivileged and stabilize them economically. Nonetheless, even after 73 years of independence, it is in existence. From the beginning only, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes were given beneficiaries of this policy. But after the implementation of Mandal Commission report in 1980, other backward classes also became an integral part of this scheme. We must look at the evolution of Indian reservation jurisprudence through judicial paradigm. With the first case of Champakan Dorai Rajan and Jagwant Kumar in 1951 came the first constitutional amendment and insertion of Article 154, that is the special provision for the advancement of any socially or educationally backward classes of citizens, or for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. The first constitution amendment opened the rooms for changes in the reservation scheme. Moving further with N.M. Thomas versus State of Kerala, in 1976 for the first time determined the scope of Article 16 Clause 4, that is whether it is an exception to Article 16 Clause 1 or an independent provision. The court reiterated by saying that Article 16 Clause 14 is not an exception to Clause 1 but an example of quality by fact. Article 14 of our Constitution provides two kinds of equality. One is negative and the other is positive equality. That is, people of similar situations should be treated similarly. However, the court in N.M. Thomas did mention that Article 16 Clause 4 is an enabling provision and cannot necessarily obligate the state to provide reservation. Thereafter, finally, was the Indira Swahani case decided in 1993. This was a landmark judgment answering to all issues relating to reservation. It upheld the decision of the government to provide 27% reservation in government jobs for other backward classes. Removal of creamy rear from the benefit was introduced. However, this was put to a lot of abuse in further time and therefore finally has to be removed. This judgment gave three conditions on which reservation should be provided. First is the backwardness, inadequacy of representation, and without compromising the efficiency of administration, which is definitely not the case today. In this decision, reservation was only available till the appointment, but with time it upgraded to promotion and finally to consequential seniority. After this, several constitution amendments were again made, like the 77th, 81st, 82nd, and 85th. Introduction of Clause 4A and Clause 4B of Article 16, which are the provision for reservation in promoting, then removing the ceiling of 50%. Addition of proviso to Article 335. Promotion with consequential seniority and reservation to other backward classes in all form of education institution except minority institution, which was the insertion of clause 5 of Article 15 under 93rd Amendment. Until now, 103 amendments which say and finally includes economically weaker sections of the society. I have made a detailed video regarding the economically weaker section, its eligibility and other requirements to be fulfilled. The link is provided in the description box below. Finally, we can come to a conclusion that the court has always put up a generic approach while providing reservation. Until few years back, caste were a relevant issue for checking backwardness. But today, determining deviance of opportunity on the basis of caste is a kind of remote. Hence lies the necessity now to change the paradigm of reservation and put everybody on equal parallels. As we say, if we are looking for a real growth, there is need to identify the real victims and help them out beyond the walls of caste. This victim can be of any religion, caste, but that shouldn't be the criteria to decide. But it is the basic human rights that one should have. I believe that basic right includes education, housing, finance, health, etc. India needs a change in approach than falling prey into the hands of political deludes and of the Britishers' reservation quota. This was the end of my video. Thank you for watching.